Twitter are going to remember. But if you're not one of their constituents, if you're not in their district, then what does that matter? You don't get to do anything about it. I live in Matt Gaetz' district. I don't get to vote for AOC or vote.
How come Farron Cousins won't run against Matt Gaetz? He's just going to sit back and, criticize people who run, and he's like...
Against her. I don't get to vote for Nancy Pelosi's next primary challenger. I got to vote for whoever it is we find from the Democratic Party to lose to Matt Gaetz.
Is it possible that Farron Cousins is in such a ruby red state or such a ruby red area that some of that conservatism has bled into his bloodstream, and that's why he's actually against Medicare for all?
This is an incredibly red area. Democrats don't stand a chance. I'm sorry. I hate it.
You don't have to apologize. Just run for office, Farron Cousins. He says he's been in this business for 16 years, so he must know a lot. He's a know-it-all, right? He knows everything. So I'd rather have a Farron Cousins in Congress. Where we have one white progressive in Congress and all these white progressive YouTubers. We don't need any more white progressive YouTubers. We need more white progressives in Congress. We need more progressives in Congress, but there's a severe vacuum. There's a big lack of Caucasians. Where are the Caucasian progressives in Congress? Are Caucasians are just being a progressive and being a Caucasian, or those just two fundamentally opposing ideas that just cannot?
So that's my take on it. Is first of all, it's not going to have the intended consequences that people like Jimmy Dore think it will.
So Nancy Pelosi is going to put up an amendment, a $2,000 amendment on COVID-19, the $900 billion boondoggle pork fest giveaway to the entire world. But it's going to be a roll call vote. So she had asked for a unanimous consent request, which was rejected by Kevin McCarthy. So Nancy Pelosi wanted to do a quick up or down thing. Kevin McCarthy said, no, we're not going to do that. We're actually going to take our time and let's do a roll call vote, where every individual says yes or no, and everybody gets on the record. So this is going to be a real vote. Force the vote. Nancy Pelosi is going to force the vote. Force this $2,000 check amendment on top of the $900 billion COVID bill. Not a nice, clean bill. Not a nice just $2,000 for the American people, which would save us $333 billion. If you cut out all the pork and just gave Americans $2,000, we save $333 billion. We don't spend the $900 billion. We only spend $567 billion. So this roll call vote was coming up on Monday. It's Saturday right now. It's Boxing Day, at least in Canada it is, in the rest of the world. December 26, 2020, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday at 3 p.m. is when they're going to have this roll call vote. This amendment, this $2,000 checks, is an amendment, and it's on top of the $900 billion COVID boondoggle. And so, it's on top of it. We need just a clean, specific, one focus, one singular focus bill, one page, maybe 2 pages, maybe 3 pages. Every American will get a $2,000 check. Every single American will get a $2,000 check. There you go. That's the entire legislation. Just write that sentence and sign it. But they're not going to do that. Instead, Nancy Pelosi wrote a statement that she's only doing this amendment roll call vote to force Donald to sign the COVID-19 bill. So Nancy Pelosi doesn't have any intention of getting the American people $2,000. She doesn't want us to have $2,000 checks. So Donald put both Republicans and Democrats in the limelight with this. Nancy Pelosi wants to go ahead and just sign the $900 billion COVID-19 package as is. She don't want to extend the package. She don't want to give us the money. Adding $2,000 checks on top of the $900 billion is going to inflate that package to $1.4, $1.5 trillion. So now it's going to be way too expensive. The Republicans, you can't. So when you think about the arguments that people like Farron Cousins, Gene Cougar, Anna Kasparian, Sam Cedar, Ben Dixon, Hassan Abi, Nomiki Konst, Salil Hobb, BB, Vosh, Destiny, Eric Levitz, Ben Burgess. When you think about all the arguments that they have against Jimmy Dore's Force the Vote campaign on AOC, on Pelosi, or kick Pelosi out and get Hakeem Jeffries in for HR 13 something something, Permilicare, right? 1384. They say, no! Excuse me. They say, no, they're all going to laugh at you like that Adam Sandler CD. No, they're all going to laugh at you. No, they're all going to laugh at you. No, it's a suicide. No, it's a sacrifice. I can't do the Adam Sandler voice right now, but it's a suicide, right? It's a sacrifice. They're all going to laugh at you. No, don't vote for Medicare for all. No, don't do it. Joe Biden said he would veto it. Nancy Pelosi's a neoliberal. It's not possible. The Democrats are going to run shit, but it's not possible to get universal health care during a pandemic. Not a possibility in the land of the free, home of the brave. Not even a possibility.
And that's the whole point, though. Like, if you think it's going to do X, but it's actually not going to do X, then from the beginning, the whole plan is indeed flawed.
So Nancy Pelosi, does Nancy Pelosi actually think that the $2,000, she doesn't think so. So her whole plan is flawed. That's what Farron Cousins is saying. Just use the same argument they use against Jimmy Dore and force the vote. Why is Nancy Pelosi forcing the vote, against the Republicans? You shouldn't bump up against the system. You shouldn't ask for what you want. You shouldn't rattle cages. You shouldn't be ruffling feathers. What the hell is Nancy Pelosi doing? She's ruffling all kinds of feathers, rattling all sorts of cages. Donald said $2,000, but they're saying the Republican leadership didn't want it. Nancy's pretending that she gives a shit about the $2,000 checks, but really it's just to force Donald's hand to sign the COVID-19 bill. So this is the time for both Pelosi and Kevin McCarthy, both the Republicans and the Democrats, to put up or shut up. Which one of these political parties actually give a goddamn fuck about the American people? Which one is going to give us a $2,000 check? Fuck the pork barrel spending. Fuck the throw that $900 billion COVID-19 bill into the fucking trash. Tulsi Gabbard, Rashida Tlaib, and 50 Republicans were right about that damn bill. Fuck that bill. It is a disgrace. Donald Trump is right about the COVID-19 stimulus bill. What a disgrace. Nancy Pelosi thinks she's going to force Donald's hand, add $2,000 checks, so inflate it to $1.5 trillion, and get him to go back and sign the COVID-19 bill like she wants. She thinks she's going to strong-arm Donald. She thinks she's going to strong-arm Donald into either A, getting $2,000 checks, or B, going back and signing the original $900 billion COVID fucking bullshit, disgraceful bill. It is a disgrace, and it's the oligarchs and the plutocrats writing this shit. 5,500 pages land on your desk. If I give you a contract and it was 5,000 pages, would you sign it? Wouldn't you feel like you're signing your entire goddamn life over? 5,500 pages? The fuck is in this shit? You give me 2 hours to read it? What the fuck is in this shit?
Actually, saying, here's an idea, here's a plan, here's something you need to do. We need more of that. We truly do. I appreciate AOC years of being in this business.
So he just said he's been in this business for 16 years.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe.
You are.
But I've seen a lot of this over.
But I'm going to stand by my wrongness.
AOC, maybe. But I've seen a lot of this over 16 years of being in this business.
Just like David Sirota has been in the business for 26 years, Farron Cousins has been in this business for 16 years. He's the Ring of Fire guy. So Farron Cousins, for 16 years, he's been a progressive YouTuber who has not gotten us Medicare for all, who has not gotten homes for the homeless, who has not ended the war, or really done a goddamn fucking thing. He got, some clicks and shit and said some interesting shit. Didn't run for Congress. Didn't put the pressure on the politicians to get what we want. What the fuck is Farron Cousins, what the hell has he been doing for 16 years? I would really want to know, because we should study Farron Cousins. For 16 years, David Sirota for 26 years, they have not been getting shit done. So we use Farron Cousins and David Sirota as people we don't listen to, and the strategies and tactics that are not working. Farron Cousins is just an example of what not to be, what not to do.
AOC has a little bit of political capital, and she needs to use it so that she can further other issues that she has a chance of succeeding with. Unfortunately, right now, Medicare for All is not one of those.
So, people are sitting there saying it's not the most priority, it's not the biggest priority, Medicare for all, we can't get it, let's get reparations. Let's get reparations. How are you going to pay for it? You can't pay for this. Don't bump up against the system. It's suicide. It's a sacrifice. They're all going to laugh at you. AOC don't even have power. It's going to fit. None of it's going to work. You're not going to be able to primary the opponents, and we're not going to get it to pass because, the Democrats are in charge, and fuck, the Democrats don't give a fuck about universal health care. So Nancy Pelosi wants the Republicans to just vote for it as is, or the $2,000 added on top of it, but all the pork is on top, the Nepal and the Burma and the amberfish and the 3 martini tax cut lunch and whatever. So this is a symbolic, pointless, what a pointless fucking vote. Why would we do this? Why would we put up a fucking vote we know that's going to fucking lose? Why would Pelosi force a vote she knows is going to lose? Why would she do that? Is she trying to kill it? Is that what it is? Because that's what we said Mitch is trying to do, right? How are you going to pay for this? $2,000 bucks. We're not even going to ask how to pay for this. Don't bump up against the system. Nancy, you're bumping up it. You got to kiss the system's ass, Nancy. Why is Nancy bumping into the system? Kiss the system's ass and hope that they give you a few breadcrumbs. That's what they expect the progressives to do. And yet, when they move and flex power, they're doing it perfectly right. A-okay. Everybody fawns all over them. When it's a ruse, it's performance art. Are there not better ideas out there? Yeah, a nice clean $2,000 check only bill is a better idea. And how come nobody explains all these things? Jimmy Dore explains his tactic thoroughly, and yet we get 5,500 pages thrust into our faces, and nobody explains a fucking thing? Who the hell is running our government? Who the hell is writing this shit? Why do they have 5,500 pages worth of, fucking wish list laws? And I know that, the bulk of the things against us, so why wouldn't the laws be against us too? So fuck. Throw the COVID-19 $900 billion fucking bill into the goddamn garbage. Fuck it. Start again. $2,000 only. $2,000 for every single American only.
And if she does force this vote, at what point does it become the boy who cried wolf? Saying, let's vote on this thing. Oh, it failed. Hey, come on, come sponsor my thing. Why?
Exactly. No, exactly. I mean, Pelosi keeps on pushing this, these symbolic performative arts, this, bullshit vote. She keeps on pushing this bullshit vote, knowing that she doesn't want it. It's not going to pass. So why does she keep doing it? She's just going to be the girl who cried wolf.
All you do is bring up symbolic bills that are designed to fail. Why am I going to work with you?
Right. Why the hell would the government work with Nancy Pelosi? All she does is put up a bunch of symbolic bills, performance art bills that ain't going to, it's just a waste of time. Nancy don't even have the power to do it. Why would Nancy, ruffle Donald's and the Republicans' feathers? She just needs to play nice and kiss their ass. That's the only way she'll get any power. Duh, don't anybody know anything?
And then she doesn't get anything accomplished. There's good ways to go about this. There's bad ways to go about this.
Yeah, so God, if Nancy Pelosi doesn't get that $2,000 amendment passed, I guess she's just going to be a pointless nobody. Nobody's going to listen to anything Nancy has got to say. Farron Cousins, I guess if we use your arguments on Nancy, do you believe them?
Think this particular idea is a great one. I think it sounds good on paper, sounds good in your head, but then once you really start, it sounds good in a tweet, but once you really start...
The idea sounds good, but once you start just, listening to all the right-wing propaganda...
To flesh it out, you start to realize, wait a minute, maybe this isn't the best way to do it, but you don't have that much rational discourse on Twitter. It's, I'm right and you're an idiot. That's what everybody says. I've actually been having some good conversations with people who've disagreed with me, and we sit there and we're talking about our reasoning, maturely, and rationally, and I see their points, and they're seeing my points.
So arrogant. He's mature and rational, and everybody on Twitter is a bunch of dumb lowlifes, pieces of shit.
And so that's one of the main reasons I wanted to make this today. Not to crap on anybody or personally attack anybody. It's not what I'm doing here at all. Okay? I'm not trying to start any feuds that I don't feel like fighting. I'm getting older. I don't feel like fighting.